You're sitting with your friends after school, and someone says something mean to you. Later, they deny it and say, "I never said that. You're imagining things. Your memory feels wrong. Your reality feels unstable." That's gaslighting, and it's designed to break your confidence in what you actually experienced. But here's the twist. There's another tactic that's even more dangerous, and most people don't even have a name for it. It's called love bombing. A new friend gives you constant compliments, buys you snacks, texts you at midnight just to see how you're doing, and makes you feel like the most special person in the world. You feel valued, seen, appreciated, like you finally found someone who gets you. Then suddenly, it stops. They act cold. They demand favors. They say, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" And now you're trapped in a cycle trying to get back the feeling of being loved. Both are manipulation tactics that mess with your mind. But which one is actually more dangerous? The answer might surprise you, and there's a hidden detail in this entire video that changes everything if you're paying attention. Watch closely. You've probably heard the word gaslighting thrown around on social media, in group chats, maybe even used it yourself. But here's the thing. Most people don't understand how it actually works, how to defend against it, or why it's so hard to escape once you're caught in it. And love bombing? That one's even sneakier because it doesn't feel like an attack. It feels like the opposite, like someone finally cares about you. Right now, in your school, your friend group, your family, or even your online circles, these tactics might be at play. A 2022 study by the American Psychological Association found that 1 in 3 teenagers experiences some form of emotional manipulation. That's not a small number. If you're in a class of 30 students, roughly 10 of you have been affected by these tactics. And that's just the officially reported cases. The real number is probably higher because many people don't realize they're being manipulated until much later, sometimes years later. Love bombing is especially common in teenage relationships because teenagers crave approval and validation. Your brain is literally wired to seek connection at this age, which makes you vulnerable to someone who seems to understand you perfectly. Gaslighting often happens in friendships and families, places where you thought you were safe. Understanding these tactics isn't just interesting psychology, it's a survival skill. It's like learning the warning signs of a scam before you fall for one. Think about your own group chat right now. Have you ever had someone edit a message and then deny they said it? Have you ever felt like your memory was being questioned in a way that made you doubt yourself? That's gaslighting in action, happening in real time. You know how when you're really confident about something, like what your friend said last week, and then someone tells you, "No, that's not what happened at all," and you start second-guessing yourself? That's the moment gaslighting takes hold. It's an attack on your perception and your memory. Gaslighting works by making you doubt the most basic tool you have, your own mind. When someone gaslights you, they're essentially saying your reality isn't real. You're too sensitive. That never happened. You're remembering it wrong. You're crazy. These phrases are weapons designed to erode your confidence in what you actually experienced. Your brain gets flooded with confusion and doubt. You start triple-checking your own memories. Did that really happen? Am I actually crazy? Love bombing is totally different. It's not attacking your memory, it's attacking your emotions. Instead of making you doubt yourself, it makes you feel amazing about yourself. Someone showers you with compliments, remembers everything you say, makes time for you, gives you gifts, and treats you like you're the most important person in their world. Your brain releases dopamine. That's the chemical that makes you feel happy and connected. You feel seen. You feel valued. You feel loved. But here's the trap. Once your brain gets used to that level of attention and affection, normal relationships feel boring. Your friends who only text you every few days seem like they don't care. Your parents seem distant. Only this person, the love bomber, seems to truly appreciate you. So when they eventually pull back the attention, you feel withdrawal, like you're missing something essential. You'll do almost anything to get back to that high. The two tactics attack completely different parts of your psychology. Gaslighting attacks your sense of reality. Love bombing attacks your sense of being valued and loved. Understanding the difference is the first step to spotting them. A lot of people think gaslighting is the most dangerous of the two because it's so obviously wrong. Someone lying to your face about what you experienced, that's scary, that's terrifying, that's the thing nightmares are made of. And that makes sense. Your memory is basically you. If someone messes with that, they're messing with your identity. But love bombing? Most people don't think it's dangerous at all. It's just gifts and attention. What's the real harm? At least you felt loved, even if it wasn't real. The problem with that logic is that love bombing often isn't the entire abuse. It's the opening move. It's how someone gets you to trust them, to lower your guard, to become attached before you see their true nature. Dr. Margaret Singer was one of the world's leading cult experts, and she documented something crucial. Love bombing is the primary recruitment tactic in approximately 70% of destructive cults and high-control groups. Why? Because it works. It makes the target feel so special, so seen, so valued that they ignore every red flag. Someone could treat you badly, and you'd excuse it because, well, they love me, so it must be okay. Your brain is literally rewired to trust them. So while gaslighting is scary and direct, love bombing is sneakier and more effective at keeping someone trapped. The victim in a love bombing situation often doesn't even realize they're being abused because the abuser reminds them constantly, "Remember how much I love you? I do all these things because I care." But actual love doesn't require you to overlook mistreatment. Actual love doesn't create a cycle of praise followed by punishment. Love bombing is conditional. It depends on you behaving the way the other person wants. And most teenagers don't recognize that difference until they're already deeply invested. You might think that both gaslighting and love bombing are equally dangerous to the victim. After all, any manipulation hurts, right? Both mess with your head, both make you feel confused or addicted, both damage your trust in people. But here's what no one tells you. The manipulator also pays a price. This is the hidden wild card that changes the comparison. Gaslighting requires constant mental energy to keep the lies straight. The manipulator has to remember what they told you last week, what version of reality they're pushing today, and make sure all the contradictions line up. Over time, this takes a toll. They often end up isolated because people around them notice they're not trustworthy. Friends eventually figure out they can't believe anything this person says. Families get tired of the drama. Gaslighters often damage their own reputation so badly that they struggle to maintain relationships. Love bombing also burns out, but differently. Love bombers create a cycle of expectation that's exhausting to maintain. You can't actually be perfect and give someone unlimited attention forever. You're a human with your own needs. So the love bomber either escalates the intensity, which burns them out even faster, or they pull back, which is when the victim usually starts to see the abuse. Either way, the relationship tends to collapse. Love bombers frequently move from target to target, burning through friendships and relationships quickly because they can't sustain the intense affection they promised. So in a way, both tactics are self-destructive. Both damage the manipulator, not just the victim. But which one causes more long-term damage to the victim and to everyone involved? The answer is more complicated than you'd think, and it depends on the context. Let's look at the actual data, because numbers don't lie. Researchers at the University of Washington conducted a multi-year study on manipulation tactics and their long-term effects. They found that gaslighting victims often suffer from anxiety and depression for months or even years after the relationship ends. The damage is real and it's significant. But here's where it gets interesting. Love bombing victims reported something different. They were more likely to stay in abusive relationships for much longer periods. Why? Because they kept chasing that high of feeling loved and special. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence tracked survivors of different types of abuse and found something shocking. Love bombing survivors took an average of 7 attempts to leave their abuser, compared to just 4 attempts for people who experienced gaslighting alone. That's a huge difference. Why? Because love bombing creates a chemical addiction, literally. When the abuser gives you affection, your brain releases dopamine, which is the same chemical released when you eat chocolate, win a video game, or get a notification on your phone. Your brain becomes dependent on that dopamine hit. Gaslighting mainly creates fear and confusion, which are painful but don't create the same addictive cycle. One study from UCLA found that love bombing victims showed similar patterns of addiction to people with substance abuse issues. Their brains literally lit up the same way when they anticipated contact with their abuser. That's how powerful this tactic is. Love bombing builds a stronger attachment, almost like a drug dependency. And when you're attached to something that intensely, it's exponentially harder to leave. The research is clear. Love bombing is statistically more dangerous in terms of long-term entrapment and keeping victims stuck in cycles of abuse. But there's one more piece to this puzzle that most people overlook. Let's make this concrete so you can actually see how these traps work. Think of your brain like a game console. Gaslighting is like a virus that corrupts your save files. It makes you doubt your own progress, your own achievements, your own version of what happened. Every time you try to play, nothing works right. You can't trust your own controls. Love bombing is more like a cheat code that gives you unlimited rewards at first. Infinite money, invincible mode, all the power-ups. Everything feels amazing, you're winning. But then suddenly, the cheat code stops working. The game becomes brutally hard. So you keep trying to activate the cheat code again, replaying the same level over and over, hoping to get back to that feeling of easy victory. Here's how the love bombing cycle actually works in real life. Step 1. The manipulator showers you with intense praise, gifts, or attention. Step 2. Your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. You feel amazing. Step 3. Just when you're hooked and your brain is expecting that reward, they withdraw the affection. Suddenly it stops. You feel empty, confused, rejected. Step 4. You figure out what to do to get the reward back. Maybe you apologize for something you didn't do. Maybe you agree to something you didn't want to. Maybe you just try harder to please them. Step 5. They give you a little bit of the reward back. Not as much as before, but enough to keep you hooked. Then they withdraw it again. This cycle is called intermittent reinforcement. And it's the exact same mechanism that makes slot machines so addictive. Casinos studied this. They know that unpredictable rewards are more addictive than predictable ones. If you always got money from a slot machine, you'd get bored. But if you only get money sometimes, randomly, you'll keep playing forever. That's what love bombing does to your brain. Here's a real example. A person named Jenna was love bombed by a romantic partner who bought her expensive gifts, took her on surprise trips, wrote her poetry, and made her feel like she was the center of his universe for the first 3 months. Then he became cold and critical. He said things like, "You're not as pretty as you used to be, and you're letting yourself go." She spent the next 2 years trying to get back the good version of him. She changed how she dressed, who she hung out with, what she ate, trying to earn back his affection. She didn't realize she was stuck in a dopamine trap. Her friends could see it clearly from the outside, but she couldn't. That's how powerful this tactic is. Now that you understand how these traps work, there's one critical mistake people make that keeps them stuck. The biggest mistake is thinking you can just ignore it or just leave once you recognize what's happening. That's not how it works. When someone gaslights you, your instinct is to argue and prove you're right. You want to win the argument. You want to make them see that you're not crazy, that your memory is correct, that reality is real. But guess what? That's exactly what they want. The gaslighter feeds on your doubt. Your desperate attempts to prove yourself give them more material to work with. The conversation spirals and spirals, and you feel crazier every time. With love bombing, your instinct is to enjoy the attention and feel special, which is natural because it feels good. But the trap is that you don't notice the price until you're already deep in. By the time you realize what's happening, you're emotionally attached. You've made plans with this person. You've told them your secrets. You've introduced them to your friends. Backing out feels like giving up on something real. The real defense isn't arguing louder or trying harder to please them. The real defense is spot the pattern, not the person. If someone consistently makes you feel confused about your own reality, gaslighting, or if someone makes you feel like you owe them something for all the love they've given you, love bombing, that's the moment to step back. The best move, and this is critical, is to talk to a trusted friend or adult who's outside the situation. Your parents, a school counselor, a coach, an older sibling, anyone who cares about you and isn't involved in the dynamic. They can see the pattern much clearer than you can because they're not emotionally tangled up. Many people think they can handle it alone. I'll just set boundaries. I'll just be stronger. But manipulation is designed to isolate you. It's designed to make you feel like the person manipulating you is the only one who truly understands you. Don't let it work. Reach out. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. After breaking down both tactics, their visibility, their speed of harm, their long-term damage, plus the hidden wildcard, the cost to the manipulator, here's the verdict. Love bombing is more dangerous overall. Here's why. It's harder to detect because it feels good. It creates a chemical addiction that's genuinely difficult to break, and it baits you into staying longer and accepting worse treatment. But that doesn't mean gaslighting is safe. Far from it. Both are serious. Both can cause lasting psychological damage. The real solution isn't picking the safer one. There is no safe one. The real solution is to build what I call your manipulation radar. Your radar is your ability to detect these tactics early before they hook you deep. Here's how to build it. Step 1. Learn the signs we covered today. Gaslighting looks like you're remembering it wrong and you're too sensitive. Love bombing looks like I've never met anyone like you, and I do all of this because I love you so much. Step 2. Trust your gut when something feels off, even if you can't explain it logically. That feeling in your stomach, that sense of something's not right here, is your brain noticing a pattern even if your conscious mind hasn't caught up yet. Don't dismiss it. Step 3. Share this knowledge with someone else. When you teach another person about these tactics, you strengthen your own understanding. You also build a culture where more people know what to look for. The more people who know these tactics, the less power they have. Manipulators rely on secrecy and isolation. Do this today. Start a private journal, just for you, where you write down interactions where you felt confused or used. Don't do it to blame anyone. Do it to build your radar over time. Write down, she said she never made that promise, or he said no one else would ever treat me as well as he does. Just the observations. Over time, patterns will emerge. You'll start to recognize the tactic before it fully hooks you. Now you know how to spot both gaslighting and love bombing, and you can teach others. That's the real power. Let's do a quick recap so you can explain this to anyone. Gaslighting is an attack on your sense of reality. It makes you doubt your own memory and perception. Love bombing is an attack on your sense of belonging. It hooks you with rewards and then uses withdrawal to keep you trapped. Love bombing is statistically more dangerous because of the chemical addiction cycle and because it's harder to recognize before you're hooked. But both tactics hurt the victim and damage the manipulator's own relationships. Both are serious. Both deserve your attention. Now here's the thing. 97% of people in this space never actually learn to spot these tactics in real time. They might read about them online or hear someone describe them, but when they're in the situation, they freeze. The emotion overwhelms the logic. But now you're different. Now you know how they work, and you can explain it to anyone. If this helped you, hit like so more people learn to defend themselves. Comment which tactic you think is sneakier, gaslighting or love bombing. I genuinely want to know what you think. And subscribe for more psychology breakdowns that actually help you in real life. Not theory, real, usable knowledge. Remember, knowledge is your best shield. Use it to protect yourself and others. You've got this.